go, people think, I'm like that, but you're not like that. I said, I'm on the screen. I'm not supposed to be like that in my real life. Public is a choice. I mean, if they don't like it, they don't like it. You can't do anything about it. At that time, I had this notion about this also, men don't dance. Anything which is like, they tell him, why don't you do this film of Dad? I said, you can't, one should not touch anybody's film because that film was not just because it had that story. It was the actor who was in it, the director who was in it, and the ambience at that time, it was that created that thing.
Correct.
And you can't create that again. Basically, जो भी अपनी film करता है, I think they want to make a right choice and they go with that subject, and everybody wants to make a good film. And unfortunately, कुछ चीजें नहीं बन पाती, but it is not their intention not to do that.
Sure.
Obviously, I have been always, shuru se, I have been picking up subjects which I like rather than anybody tells me do this film or that film. So I have been, and I work on my instinct because I'm a sports guy. So I believe in instincts. I don't like to analyze it, bisect or dissect anything. Everybody has his own way of assessing himself by lots of people saying something and that's how they assess themselves.
Yeah.
Some have got it that they feel, okay, I know where I'm wrong. Fine, you're right on dots over there. But sometimes it is not so. So, these are the ifs and buts. But I think the best critic is yourself, and then after that is, if it is your parents, your father, or close friends of yours. They'll be the ones who will not think twice, and they will be right towards what they're seeing rather than just for the sake of saying it. And obviously, and if you should be able to accept criticism, because that's the only way of growing. If you can name a perfect room, then thank God. I think initially one was basically on that side. One wanted them to be nice to you and write good thing to you when you start off your career. You do want to. फिर उसके बाद जब देखते हो कि मैंने ऐसा तो नहीं, ऐसे क्यों बोल रहे हैं, करते then you come to a point के don't take it so seriously, because you have to make when you're moving ahead, you can see the thing ahead of you. You don't need anybody to tell you, don't do this, don't do that. If you want to move ahead, want to reach there, you will find your path over there. So that's the way I see life should be. And if somebody can help you and shortcut you from there, fine, but you've lost the experience of finding it yourself. Anyone who's doing something is doing it because he's enjoying it and he knows what he's doing it, and he doesn't need to be, because he himself knows that I'm wrong here, I'm right there. Pata hota hai. And secondly, but if criticism is just done for the sake of doing it, is something which you cannot, one should not even talk about that. I don't know, many a times there's no point even hitting your head against it. You just move away from it and let it go by, because जब उसको अकल आएगी. I don't think one does it now anymore unless and until one feels कि okay, चल जाने दो, इसका फायदा हो रहा है, but it's not going to damage me and it's okay. So you do it at times, but it is not something which you have thought about it. It all depends on the situation, what it is, and I think that's the way it is. If you can give somebody and somebody needs it, needy person can be helped, you should help. Same kind of film, same kind of everybody has been working so well from past 15, 20 years. It's not that they're doing something different right now. It's just that the people suddenly feel like they don't want to watch something like this, or they don't want to. I can only think of that, and these things do keep happening, and the cycle keeps changing. That's all it is. I don't see anything more to that, and definitely, these are my personal thoughts, is that initially, the producer was a producer who wanted to make a film. Now the companies have come in where they're not looking at a story or a director or anything. They're looking what is the sellability and how they can make it what it is. So it has become more of a
business.
And so rather than going, believing in something and taking the right actor and the right director to do the project, the day they have to do that, I'm sure. You can't say that this project is good, there's a depth of it. Go make it. And it will work. Believe in it. But don't believe in it because you feel, nahi, वहाँ पे मेरे को इसको ये जवाब देना, उसको ये जवाब देना, उसको ये जवाब देना, then it becomes difficult. Then obviously, sometimes something works and sometimes it doesn't work. But it is not that it was not supposed to work, or it is. And public is a choice. If they don't like it, they don't like it. You can't do anything about it. I know wherever I go, people think, I'm like that, but you're not like that. I said, I'm on the screen. I'm not supposed to be like that in my real life. We came in with such a dad
legacy
behind us. I didn't think about it. I said, if I'll think about it, I'll become a victim of it. So, and if they say Dharmendra's son, he said, I am his son. I'm proud of it. You know, so I was never into all these things, you should do this or that. I said, no, I have to become me, so I have to do what I want to do, and I'll carry on doing it. And if I'm there, I'm there. If I'm not there, I was not supposed to be there. Wow. So that's the way I've always taken my life. And I said, I've come to become an actor. I've not come there to become all this. If I'm not good, I'm not good. And at that time, I had this notion about this also, you know, men don't dance, you know.
That
was the in the 60s or 70s, you know, that was the 70s, that was the kind of a 80s, when we grew up, we were saying, Mard aadmi naachta nahi hai. Over the period of time, the fans and the people have been really kind, and they just accept me the way I do it. Anything which is like, they tell him, why don't you do this film of Dad? I said, you can't, one should not touch anybody's film, because that film was not just because it had that story, it was that the actor who was in it, the director who was in it, and the ambience at that time, it was, that created that thing.
Correct.
And you can't create that again. You just can't create that again. I mean, there's so many Hollywood films I've seen, and what was the original one, and when they did it after that was bullshit. And I have an example also, you know. My dad had done, and Sanjeev, they had done a film, Yado Ki Barat. And then Nasir ji did the same film with me and a couple of us, wanting to repeat that, and it was a big flop. I mean, we couldn't do that, and it shouldn't be done. And obviously, I was very young that time. I had no idea. Karna hai, kar liya.